Okay, hello to everyone and welcome to the 11th webinar on education and training in the space sector. This time we will explore how the European space education or other educational initiatives help students prepare for challenges and also make them support the current Europe's political framework. It will also explore, of course, other how these programs, how these educational initiatives can contribute to the sustainable practices of an organization. For those who are not aware of our mission, NEREUS is the network of European regions using space technologies. We explore the benefits of space technologies for the citizens. We promote the use of space towards regions and towards European leaders and stakeholders. We are currently 23 member regions and 37, almost 37 associate members. I will not take more of your time. Usually I start with a presentation, but today's agenda is very rich. And we have the pleasure also to invite this diverse audience and panel. So I will start immediately with welcoming our speakers. So I would like to see if, yes, Ioana is connected. So our first speaker is Ioana Repanidou. She works for the European Space Education Resource Office, ESERO, and the main objective of ESERO's offices around Europe is to support primary and secondary education in Europe. Now this office is located in it has been established 1-2 years ago in Greece, but Ioana will tell us more about it. The idea is that we would like to see how space education is supported through ESERO's office, and of course how the principle of sustainability is promoted there. For us, it's very interesting because as NEREUS, we are mainly involved in the at the master level, so education training in the master level or vocational programs. So it's quite interesting to see how primary and secondary education is involved with the promotion of space. Ioana, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Ioana Repanidou, and today I'm going to present you the ESERO office in Greece. First of all, I want to thank NEREUS for the host and for giving me this opportunity to discuss about important topics regarding space education for the next generation and about raising awareness for a sustainable future. The European Space Education Resource Office has been established by the European Space Agency since 2005, and it is a project to support primary and secondary education community in Europe. ESERO is a really big and a growing network. During this time, there are 22 ESEROs, and ESERO Greece is quite new since it was launched at late November 2021, so we can count about 2 years of operation. Now let's discuss about the ESERO Greece activities and challenges. First of all, we are constantly trying to create and expand an effective network across Greece. We are in close contact and in collaboration with key partners from universities, schools, people from academia, scientific associations, science centers, professionals from space industry, and we have the support of the Ministry of Primary Education and the Ministry of Digital Governance. The primary function of the ESERO Greece is to create and grow enthusiasm and enhance literacy for STEM fields among students for primary and secondary education by using the space context. Through innovative and inspirational activities, ESERO also endeavors to raise awareness about the large career prospects in the space sector, and of course, raise awareness for space science, ISS, and sustainability in general. The ESERO activities help bring STEM subjects within the pupils' reach, demolishing the misconception that science is only for geniuses. We are trying to reach a Greek teacher community by offering a series of online or face-to-face teacher training with the use of the ESEDucation resources and the school projects. Also, our initiative is. Sorry, I hear myself.
I hear myself.
Maybe a microphone is open.
Yeah, we hear an echo.
I think it's Marco.
Marco, it's Marco.
Okay, now? I think it's okay now. Yes.
Okay.
So we also inform teachers and students about the ESA open resources and of course about the career opportunities in the space sector. In the next section, we will discuss about the ESERO Greece activities that run also through the other ESEROs that are AstroPy, CANSAT, Climate Detectives, MONCAMP, and Mission X. Starting with CANSAT, the goal, students have the opportunity to design a real space mission by creating a simulation of a real satellite integrated within the size, the volume, and the shape of a soft drink can. The challenge for secondary students is to fit all the major subsystems found in a satellite, such as power, sensors, and a communication system into this minimal volume. And the CANSAT is then launched in an altitude of a few hundred meters by a rocket and completes a specific scientific mission. In the AstroPy school project, students have the opportunity to gain programming skills by sending a real message to the ISS or an image, or completing a specific scientific experiment with Python. Also in Mission X, students complete specific activities and train like real astronauts. When in MONCAMP, they try to build and create a sustainable settlement on the moon or anywhere else in the solar system with 3D design, arts and crafts, robotics, and more. And the final project is the Climate Detective School project, where students become real scientists and investigate a climate or an Earth problem by analyzing and using satellite data. For example, they use the EO browser software, or they take ground measurements. In 2 years of ESERO Greece operation, up to 900 teachers, 15,000 students, and 1,500 teams have been participating in our projects with great success. Also, apart from these 5 main school projects, we organize some workshops and inspirational activities and events. with STEM activities. Here are some snapshots of our events and workshops. So let's have a close look into the future and see what are the next steps of the ESERO Greece. First of all, we are really happy that for the first time we would organize a space camp where students would have the opportunity to complete STEM activities during their summer vacation at camps. Also, within the next school year, we plan to deliver some webinars on a monthly basis dedicated to schools for primary and secondary education also, with some experts to talk about topics like sustainability and space, life in space, ISS, careers in the space sector, and more. Also, we are really happy that we have a new target group, 3 to 6 years old. So we plan to develop with our partners new educational resources, space STEM related. And of course, finally, I should highlight our ultimate goal, which is to reach out every child, every teacher, and every school across Greece. And here are some useful links if you want to learn more about ESERO Greece and ESA. And that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ioanna. I am impressed personally by all this information. Really, congratulations to the work of ESERO office in Greece. And I have many questions from my side, but before that, I will turn to the audience, and I would like to ask them if they have any comments, questions for Ioanna. You can put them in the chat, and then I can transfer your comment to her. I read here from Gan Hokolak-Zakov that he's very interested in educational resources about space STEM related.
Yeah, of course, you can find in our website some resources, and I can put a link in the chat. It is more effective to read these resources in English and not in Greek. So I will find the link now and send you the ESA resources about space and STEM.
Now that you mentioned also resources, I heard during the presentation that you have this EO data simulator for children to test ground segments and how to apply Earth observation data. Is that correct?
Yeah, we mainly train teachers about the EO browser. It is an online software.
Can you please share the link also, because it's very interesting for us as NEREUS.
Yeah, of course.
They are about the use of space, and there I also have some questions. How do students react to this tool?
Yeah, we have some feedback from the teachers. Here with us, I can see also a teacher that has used EO browser, but I think that space excites students, especially I know this for Greek students because space and Earth observation is totally absent from the Greek curriculum. So yeah, regarding EO browser, because we train teachers, they can use this effectively with the teachers' support. They really like it, yes.
And I also, in relation to this, I would like to ask you, if the philosophy of ESERO office, apart from, okay, you promote space, you promote STEM education or how wonderful it is to become an astronaut and so on. But is it also that you showcase to students that, look, we have problems on Earth and space can help us deal with them? Is something that it's already in the agenda of ESERO to...
Although it is something that teachers and students are not so much aware about the sustainability in space, because we all teachers and students know about the climate change and the Earth issues. So we try to use some resources in order to implement teacher and student communities, and raise awareness about these problems.
And what is their response? The students, I mean, from the side of the students.
Again, I will say that students are interested about this topic, and they ask about questions. But I see that the one thing that most excites students are the careers in space. Yeah, and when we say about the career of astronauts, they are constantly asking things like, how can I become an astronaut? What is the expertise needed? How's the life of the astronauts and stuff like that.
And does the program also explains to the students that there are more, let's say, there are more professions that you can work in space regardless your profession, that it's actually an open space for everyone?
Yeah, of course. And most of the times we try to inform them about the ESA career announcements that are in education also. They search for geologists, engineers. So it is a field that we can all work in the careers space sector, in the space sector. Also, some legal issues or ethic issues that need to be investigated. So I think that all careers.
And what is the reaction of the teachers when you approach them to cooperate for this initiative?
So teachers are really excited, and they want to incorporate space and STEM education in their lessons. So they are constantly trying to reach out to us and say that we want this training, we want this expert talk, and we see that it is getting bigger and bigger.
That's very, very promising and interesting too. Then I have a question from the audience. Do you have programs related to space STEM internship?
Can you please explain exactly the question?
Yes, he asks if there are any funding programs, I guess, relevant to space STEM internship. So, but I don't know if ESER office is the right initiative for that, because we are talking about really students in the primary secondary school, but I can ask Ioana, I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah.
It's too early to become business people.
Yeah, you have right. Our goal is primary and secondary education for now, but who knows, in the future, maybe.
Maybe we have an entrepreneur at the age of 10 in the space sector. That would be
But
fantastic.
here in the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, we can see many teams of undergraduate students that are really active in the space sector. And I know some teams that collaborate also with ESA. So
yeah, I forgot to mention that you cooperate with Aristotle University, and they do an amazing work in this field. And then I have another question from Sara Rastaxis. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Ioana, for the amazing presentation. I have a question. How accessible are these programs? All students can participate, or are there financial limitations?
of course, all the trainings and the workshops and activities are for free. We do not have any fee for the teachers or students to pay because our goal is mainly to refer to all teachers and students in all over the Greece and include everyone.
And how many schools are left in Greece that you still have to cover?
I think that we have. I don't know the exact number now, but I think that we should cover remote islands. So we have some thoughts about that. For example, we plan to organize an Emission X final event in remote islands of the Aegean Sea in order to inspire this and include this community also.
Coming from an island, I have to say that this will be very encouraging from the people there. So they're very good. One last question from Carlotta Gavagnin. Are Italian secondary schools involved? If so, how and from which regions? Thank you for the brilliant presentation. Hello, Carlotta from Veneto.
Okay, thank you, Carlotta. Hello. There is the ESERO Italy also in Italy.
Yes.
So maybe you can find the email and communicate with them to discuss more.
Exchange experience. Ioana, thank you very much for this very inspiring presentation. And always when you start talking about children, it's happiness and you smile, and combined with space, it's even more fascinating.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us for the rest of the discussion. And now I have the pleasure to present to you Fiorella Colliolo. Everybody knows Fiorella in the space sector, so I don't think I can make any kind of introduction. She's based in Italy. She's an astrophysicist. She works for ASI, the Italian Space Agency, but today she will present us a very interesting educational initiative. I wasn't aware about it. I looked on LinkedIn, actually. Sometimes the social media can work out. And there is a Master of Space Management from the Luis Business School. This is actually quite new, and I called Fiorella and I asked her to give more information about that and what kind of opportunities this master degree offers. When I started back in 2016-15 to look master degrees in the space sector, there were only two, one in KU Leuven Master of Space Study, which I finalized also, and the second one in France, I think it's International Space University. And now there is a growth in this kind of educational programs and initiatives, and the master program in Luis Business School, it's one of them. So the floor is yours, Fiorella.
Thank you, Margarita, and thank you for the introduction. In fact, as you mentioned, I'm an astronomer by education, and I have different collaboration. And in this, and today I'm representing the Remedia Group, is a scientific communication company that is this partnership with the Luis Business School for this master in space management. So I give you few information about the context of this master. As you know, we are, I mean, also based on my experience, I'm a scientist, but I'm working in science communication and education. And today we need to face global challenge in the space sectors. One of these is the space economy. As you know, with the today space is not anymore, let's say, exploration of moon and planets, but is a field of innovation, competitiveness, economic growth. So the scientists and technicians need to be prepared for the management role. So the Luis Business School and the Remedia Group combined their skills and knowledge in the sector to create this master for STEM graduate students that already have experience in the space sector. This master from the, let's say, scientific point of view, is organized, is based on the knowledge and the skills of a high-level scientific committee. And to build the scientific committee with Remedia and the Luis Business School, we worked with the most, let's say, innovative industries in Europe in the space sector. So this master is built with the support of the Italian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, and with the support of different space industries, from Thales Alenia Space to Leonardo, from Planetech to Planet, Space Tech, and many other companies. Why I'm mentioning them? Because it's the first edition of this master, so it's important that we work together with different actors in space. So this year was launched this last November in the hub of the business school in Amsterdam, so close to ESTEC, the main scientific and technological ESA establishment, and is organized in hybrid format, so students or young professionals that already work can follow the masters one weekend in Amsterdam, and the other one from, I mean, is online classes. And we have organized two, let's say, full week where all the students are together. And the first week was organized in the Netherlands, and of course we had classes with professor, with practice, and also we have business professional visit. One of these was the European Space Agency, and then now we are organized one full week in Rome at the headquarters of the Luis Business School, and we are going also to organize a visit in ESERO, so the ESA establishment in Frascati dedicated to Earth observation, and the Thales Laser Space. So this is a very, let's say, diverse master where we can combine the lesson, let's say, traditional lesson together with other innovative skills. This master is open to, of course, to different, let's say, background, but most of them for this year already they are working in the space sectors, but they need the skill and the knowledge in the management sector. And we really, as Margarita discovered this master on LinkedIn, we really believe that the promotion and the dissemination of the master through our partners and through the website is essential. So at the end of the master, I mean, of course, I can share with you the brochure and the link of the master. At the end of the master, students need to prepare a small thesis. And we hope also that we organize a networking event where the students can get in touch with the space leader. So let's say that the needs is really to bridge the gap between scientific and STEM knowledge and management skills. So this is a little bit the overview of the LEUS Business School offers a number of scholarship for the participant, and of course then they need to send their application. I think we just opened the application for next year, so please, if you or around you know people interested on that, please, I mean, they can contact me or take contact on the different content of the website. And I just add the last information. I know also that NEREUS is very sensible to diversity and inclusiveness. So this master aims to combine people from different backgrounds, different nationalities, and when possible, to balance also the gender balance. The master is co-directed by the president of Remedia, that I think you already know, Margarita, Marco Recchioni. Then is together with José D'Alessandro, that is the director of the LEUS Business School, and we have also a woman, Paola Berlingheri, that is a professor at LEUS Business School. So we try also to have this balance of different background also among the students.
Thank you very much, Fiorella, for your presentation. It was nice to hear you talking about this different dimension of European space education, different from what we heard from Joanna, the previous speaker. While you were presenting this master, you focused really on the fact that the courses are about space management. Also, there are many companies invited to contribute to the presentation of these management courses. And my question to you is how this master degree supports the principle of sustainability. So while for example, two students learn about how to handle a project in an organization, or how to even start their own business, how they integrate the sustainability activities into that.
But let's say the strategic vision of this of the leader of this master is really to prepare the entrepreneur and the manager of tomorrow. So in this sense, we invest in sustainability. So we need, I mean, our target are young professionals, or sometimes also human resource leader. They want to acquire skills to let's say to hire different profile in the organization. The course are organized bringing together knowledge, skills, and experience from leaders from space and non-space sectors. For example, if we have a lesson about international relations, so there is a professor focusing on international relations in non-space sectors. And we have also the testimonial of the classes from people involved in the space sector. So the participant can have the opportunity to have a full picture of the...
Well equipped, yes.
Yeah. It's, and then there is also practical case, of course. Also there is some courses in organization skills, in management, in communication, and we try also to, of course, most of them, they work already in the space sector, but we try also for some of them, they are maybe at the really beginning of the career, to give an overview of where we are today with space and economy and the impact on our daily life.
Another question from my side before I give the floor to the audience. Let's say the companies contributing to this master degree, are they European based, or they are also coming from other parts of?
I mean, most of them are from Europe, but of course the master is open to everyone is interested to join the class. For the core business today is, I mean, is the first edition, so we need really to invest at the European level at the moment. But of course, people from all around the world are welcome. Can be also a model that can be exploited in other countries, because of course, if you need also to travel to follow the class, is important also. I mean, the geographical situation is also important, but this is a model that can be also applied to other universities, to other countries.
Then I have a question from Ms. Belali. Does the program help if we already have a project in progress to move it forward? Thank you.
But yes, I mean, if I take the example of this year, for example, one of the participants is already running a startup in space. So for him, it's very important to acquire other skills. So we try, I mean, it's open to STEM graduate engineers or other kind of disciplines. And if you have your own company, for example, but you need other skills, or maybe you complement your knowledge, we also give access to a platform of experts, for example, our scientific committee, for advices or.
Mm-hmm. And does this program support scholarships?
I mean, the Lewis Business School offers scholarship. Yes. Then the other participant, of course, can be, they can, it's important maybe that this year there are some of them, some of the participants, they are following the master thanks to the support of their company. So what is important for this, I think, the second edition of this master, then we really get in touch with the human resource office of the different space companies to really present the masters, and maybe to stimulate also the interest of their employee to be part of this new program. But last year I think there were 6 scholarships from the business school, the Lewis Business School. Okay. It's important to follow the different deadline on the website and the different steps.
I shared the link on the chat so everybody can see that. Then I would like to ask, I see that Mr. Kolaksakov raised his hand. Feel free to take the floor and ask the question to Fiorella.
Thank you, Margarita. It used to be raised. I try to.
Yes. Okay. So it's for if it's still relevant, please, you can ask Fiorella.
No, I don't have it. Okay. Question. If can Fiorella just share her contacts with us, that would be.
Maybe you can introduce yourself. I ran quickly through your LinkedIn, but you can introduce yourself. You are the CEO of.
I'm the CEO of Institute for Technology Transfer Innovations. It's a Bulgarian NGO situated in the city of Plovdiv, which is the second biggest city of Bulgaria, with working on the development of our innovation ecosystem. On one hand, we're working with local business. On the other hand, we're supporting different educational institutions. We are part of the Castra. It's a Bulgarian space cluster. And we are a key partner of this organization. And also we supported several local schools in development of STEM centers. And also as part of one of our projects, we developed the STEM handbook and STEM platform. So we want to connect the space and STEM related programs. So I'm really very interested in all that you are sharing now on this event. And I've got only one question about ESERO.
Maybe you can keep the question for ESERO, and you can ask again in the final discussion. Maybe it's more relevant because I have some. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Gansu. Fiorella, one last question to you. You are a space expert. You have a long career in the space sector. You are involved with many universities. And what I would like to ask you is, what are the needs of the European space education in your opinion?
But this depends also on the target audience that we are speaking. If we're speaking about, we just heard what the ESERO office is doing in Greece. I just opened just a small thing for the Italian question. So if to contact the Italian Space Agency or the other member of the ESERO Italia for more information. If you don't have the contact, you can ask us. But then if we are, so what I see when I work with also with secondary school is that sometimes still we need to really stimulate not only the interest of the students, because I mean space is the ideal topic to inspire and to fascinate people, but sometimes is also to know the diversity of the different kind of job that we can have in the space sector. So we need role model. So, for example, all the people, I mean, most of the students, they want to be an astronaut, but of course, it's very nice to be an astronaut, but it's also very difficult. Yeah. So, according to our skills, our interests, space today offer very, very different opportunities, from technicians to engineers,
archaeologists.
Yes, but also from not STEM background, because I mean, I really believe that the multidisciplinary approach is fundamental to engage different target audiences. And now more and more, when you have to work in communication or in education, to have people from different background, even from the arts world, is really interesting, because you can stimulate the imagination and the curiosity of the people. So I think it's important to have a role model. Of course, as you know, Margarita, I'm very supporting of women in aerospace sectors, but it's not a matter at the end if we are men or women, but it's important to have a role model to follow. And it's also important to have the support, I think, from the family if you are young. Because I remember when I decided to study astronomy, I was fully supported from my family, but in the different projects that I work, like the exhibition Space for Our Planet, focusing on space and sustainable development goals, the testimonials that we have for the education or for gender. Really, we have some testimonial from a space educator in Pakistan, and she says that for her it was really, really difficult, because she was a girl, she wanted to work in space, she didn't have the equipment as an educator to work with students. So didn't have telescope, didn't have any kind of experiments. The only thing that she has is to have a look on the stars. So it's also important today to
appreciate also what we have.
Yeah, what we have, and
already.
Yeah. And it's probably you are aware about that. There is a new research field. I mean, not I know if it's new, but we are speaking a lot in this at this time. Is to protect our dark skies, because there is a lot of pollution, and astronomers cannot work.
They cannot see the stars because of the many satellites. It's so crowded.
Yeah, so there is the International Astronomical Union is working a lot on this issue together with the Space Office of the United Nations. And for young students, it's important to see the sky. This is the first thing that we are inspired when we are young.
No, and I fully subscribe to what you say, the role models that we follow. And I mean, this is also a personal opinion, but part of the reason why the skies are crowded today, it's because only one person owns the majority of satellites in the world. And we are in this situation. And I think astronomers will have a big problem in the future. So
Yeah,
something that you can raise awareness also at the primary and secondary education. These are crucial matters. And space is nice indeed. It's nice to fly to space and become an astronaut, but you need also to deal with real problems.
Yeah, but these dark skies issues impact also the biodiversity. Because all the animals or all the that are during I mean, they live in the night. They don't have any more these dark skies. And so another thing that just to complete the answer, of course, today space offers opportunities in the downstream and upstream sector. So, for example, for Earth observation, if you work in agriculture field, for example, or in the fishery field, you can benefit from space data. So you can also decide after your study that is not STEM studies to work in the space sectors.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Fiorella. We will continue the discussion later. Does anyone else have questions from the audience for Fiorella? Yes, Roja.
Yeah, Fiorella, thank you for this interesting presentation, and it sounds like really an exciting program. My question is very brief. Would you say that in the program there is also the dimension of downstream? How would you rate that? Or is it more focused on upstream, on building launcher satellites, on really the hardware of space?
No. It's also on the downstream. Is a space economy at glance, let's say. So as you know, the space economy is focusing a lot on the downstream. So what we cover all the different topics of the space economy, let's say, challenges and opportunities. And it's also important that, I mean, as I mentioned, this was the first edition. So we are now organizing a meeting with the scientific committee also to hear feedback and collect comments. So if there are any suggestions also from the external stakeholders as NEREUS, we are more than happy and welcome any kind of suggestion. And also, I'm sure that NEREUS could be an ideal platform to promote also this master. And as mentioned, of course, with Remedia, we created this master with the Lewis Business School, but we are more open and also I think it would be very interesting to apply the same model for other universities if there is an interest, of course, different countries.
Okay.
But the Earth Observer, I mean, the downstream sector is fully covered. In fact, we have also this visit in ESERO in April with all the participants of the student to have more, to get a better understanding of ESA Earth observation program, for example.
That's very interesting. Thanks to Margarita, we have a very, very large university network connected with our NEREUS platform. We on the platform have numerous universities. We have them as associate partners, and we have also many universities that are based in our member regions and cooperate with us. And then we have a large network of cooperation partners and universities we have come across in our project activities. And I think could be interesting to make the link and also to explore where is space also in other business programs.
Yeah.
Or if you have really a unique course. I have no overview how many business schools in Europe you can actually study something space related.
But we don't need the business school. We need a university interested in make the combination between space and the non-space sector. can be, can be a university. The LEUS Business School comes from the private, very prestigious private university in Italy, is the LEUS University, and then they have the business school. But this master can be also a combination of skills between other universities. It's not necessarily a business school, this I want to say. Because we can find the expert in different sectors. This is also our let's say added value with Remedia to look for expert, identify expert that can be useful in the project and build the project with partners, stakeholders. Also, the research centers are essential for this kind of masters, and I know that the NEREUS has a lot of associate members. It would be useful maybe in one of your next maybe meeting to present this opportunity if there is an interest to organize a bilateral meeting.
Sure. Thank you, Roya, for the question.
Thank you.
Fiorella, stay with us. We move on quickly to our next speaker, Matthew Denou. Matthew Denou comes from Aura. It's the environmental agency in one of the environmental agencies in France, from the region of Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. Aura joined NEREUS very recently, and today we invited them to present their organization and how they deal with activities linked to the use of space. So the floor is yours, Matthew.
Hello, thank you very much, Margarita. Do you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for inviting me and the agency to present our activities related to space and how education and training can help us in our activities. So very quickly, I think some of you might have seen this already, but my region is the second largest French region in terms of population, GDP. Mostly our economy is based on tourism and industry in our region, but we have also a strong energy production and many environmental issues related to our mountains, our natural parks, and our forests. The role of our agency in this territory is to help the local authorities work on energy environment transition. Our agency is quite old in France and I think in Europe too. So we are working with national and regional authorities to provide services to the local authorities and to help municipalities, cities work on all these topics related to energy transition. So we are kind of a B2B actor for public actors. So our goals are mostly on these topics. We have 3 types of services that we provide to the territories. The first one is related to data, to provide data, to build some data, to provide tools around data, to help them tackle some environmental issues. The second one is to provide some expertise, both on technical and legal and financial issues. And the third one is to support projects and to build some networks between the actors on all these topics. And that's why we are involved in many European projects, either from Horizon 2020, LIFE, and so on, but also from Interreg USALP funds. So that's the large scope of our activities. Why I'm here today to present some slides is because we are interested in spatial data, because we know that it can provide many services for our topics on energy, environment, And so we tried in the past few months, years, to work on this and to work on the services that it could provide. But of course, it requires a lot of expertise, a lot of technical knowledge, and they need some time. So first topic that was interesting for us was the renewable energy potentials, because we need to help the cities and the territories to estimate what potential they have on the land and how they can maybe give some incentives, some subsidies for the project developers. So we had an intern who worked in our office for a few months on building a small process, an example process that would gather the data and process the satellites images to provide some like aggregated indicators available at any level in our region. So that's the example I give on this slide with the image at the beginning, which is slowly processed by some neural networks and then gathered in some aggregated indicators. So that's what we started doing. Of course, it was an intern, so the results were not all satisfying, and so we still have to work on this. And the idea is that this kind of work would be very interesting for what we do in our agency, and what I summed up in this slide, which is giving access to many data to the territories, so they are able on their own territory, on their own cities, to build some plans, to build some political actions, and so on. The second subject or topic that we wanted to tackle was the climate risk subject. So what we did is we tried to connect to some European platforms that do exist today, of course, based on Copernicus services, because they are free and they are very exhaustive. So we connected to the mostly two services, the European Ground Motion Service and another one which is called EFAS, which is on the flood flood. I don't know how to say that, but they are trying to build some forecast around floods. So it was very interesting because it was not sufficient, because it was very detailed, but we needed some like aggregated picture. So we are not very satisfied with what we did up till now. But still, it will help us provide some services. And here I gave an example of what kind of service we can provide using those data. It's a serious game that we can have in for example, a local municipality with the elected people or the technical people, and this serious game will help people tackle this adaptation issue by giving them some data, some inputs about the situation of the territory, and at the same time the kind of actions they could apply to tackle this issue. And they have to decide together, depending on the constraints they might have on their territory, what are the most important issues. And of course, having access to such historical trends on aggregated indicators is very interesting, because it highlights maybe the most sensitive points of their territories. And the final slide is just a summary of everything that I mentioned before. So we try to work on renewables, we try to work on climate risk, but what are the main lessons of all these work and all these I would like to say tries that we attempted on climate, on satellite data, is that it's very hard for us because on the one hand we have like the technical expertise, which is very very difficult and very time consuming. And on the other hand, we have the people that we work with who are elected people, who are some people specialized in like legal process.
Policies, decision making.
Sorry?
Yeah, I compliment you. You mean you have
Yeah.
people that are working
Yeah,
with legal issues,
exactly.
policy issues?
Yes, exactly. So doing like doing something that gathers all these people with the tools that we can provide is very difficult, and that's why we need people to be trained and to be educated on these topics, and that's also why we joined the NEREUS and why we are happy to discuss with you today, because we think that having trained like engineers on the satellite data is very important, but also training around political studies is also very important, because people are getting accustomed to the energy transition, environmental issues, but it's either from the technical point of view or either from the political point of view, but not so many people have like access to both. So we need to start building on this, and that's the end of my presentation for today. So I would be happy to discuss with you, because I try to be quick and to summarize.
Take your time. No, take your time, Matthew. Thank you very much. Indeed, the work of your of your environmental agency is impressive. And what I've noticed is that based on the needs of the region, actually, you shape the directorates in your agency, the work in your agency. Climate change, floods issues, all of that. I had a question regarding the skills needed for a person to join your agency. So what are your requirements for the current workforce? But you partly replied on that, and it's a combination of skills.
Yeah, I mean, historically, we have people who were like experts on a topic like, I don't know, PV, how to create projects on PV and so on. And we had at the same time some people who are more like political experts, who know how to, to create networks and to animate those networks. But like in the last month, what appeared was we needed to have like both people in the same kind of events and in the same projects, and that's why satellite data, I think, is a good like illustration example for this, because satellite data is an expertise, but at the same time, if it doesn't provide any service, so if it's like too far away from the final end user, the final needs, it will be useless for us.
How do you interpret the data,
yeah,
actually?
Exactly.
How you present the information?
Yes.
And do you face any challenges in finding the right workforce at the moment? What is the gap? What is the profile, the curriculum you need?
Yes.
And maybe Joanna, maybe we can involve Joanna also to the discussion, because this is actually a very interesting feedback from a person that works on the field, and you can share this with your students that apart from being an astronaut, people are looking for this and this, and what are the main needs? Because and there I also link, Fiorella, that astronauts are very few people, unfortunately, but very few people can become. What the market needs is what Matthew actually says at the moment. Please, Matthew.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The problem is that we are like we are an association, we are a kind of NGO. So the problem is that we don't have this kind of incomes any engineer can have in the private sector. So that's another like constraint that is applying on us, and that makes the recruitment of new people skilled very difficult, because usually when people leave the studies, they are going to want to have some lifestyle and incomes that in public sector we are not able to provide. So that's another issue that we face, especially when you try to recruit some data analyst or a satellite analyst. People are going to say, okay, that's a very promising sector, but you don't have the kind of salary that or wage that I was hoping to have access to. So that's another topic which makes the public sector maybe less attractive than the private sector. And the last point I wanted, and I will let the other people react, but that at least in France, in like universities or engineer schools, the public sector is not very present and very known of, because like big companies will do some advertising and so on, and there will be some events where the private sector will be public and visible, but like cities and regions and national states are not well known as employers, as people, as like needing
The
a lot
main
of
actors
people.
of the, yeah.
Yes. So that's also something which makes it hard to have access to skilled people and like good people with the right skills.
Fiorella, do you have any comment to share? Maybe from the Italian public administration, or I don't know, is there somebody, I saw someone from Veneto region. They can take the floor if they want to comment on what Matthew just said. But please, Fiorella.
No,
Please.
yeah, no, I think I mean based also on the experience working with NEREUS when I was working with the technology aerospace cluster in Puglia. So I can see that public administration, they needs, of course, new skills, but because I think all the reason about these new skills and new needs is because the space sectors is changed.
Yeah.
So we are really focusing now on the importance of space for our daily life. We are very often faced to the questions why I need to invest in space when I have a lot of problem in my regions with hospital or everything. So it's important to really show concrete example on how we can benefit from space every day for our day life. So the skills that we need are different, because we need, as I was mentioning before, from the agriculture to the climatologist, from the fisher world to, for example, in the project space and sustainability, we had a testimonial from a fisher in Indonesia. And he's using data, space data, to better monitor the area where he's working and he's fishing. So he sees the skills mainly in the downstream sectors. They are really diverse. And this is important also because sometimes people think that they need to be an engineer or to have a STEM background, but sometimes you can have all other kind of background and work in the space sectors.
Coming back to Joanna's presentation, I would like to ask you and Matthew. We just have a comment, so I give preference to the audience. It's from Branka Kuka. from Polimi, the university established in Italy. They are all, I have to, yeah, okay. She thanks you very much for the meeting, the event, and the nice discussion. Thank you to Branka, and thank you for joining. Yeah, so I was going to ask, given Ioanna's presentation, I would like to ask you, Fiorella, and Matthew, what is this, if you know, what is the situation on primary and secondary education in your countries? Ioanna, maybe you can comment on that, but she shared before, but there is not that much awareness in Greece. So I was wondering what is going on in Italy and France. Maybe Ioanna, you can share more information about that. What is the level of outreach in Greece, regardless ESERO, because ESERO is doing a great job.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know much
Maybe
in
first
France.
Ioanna, and then I give the floor
Yeah.
to you, Matthew.
Okay, as I said, in the Greek curriculum, space context is totally absent, unfortunately, but there are many efforts from science centers, undergraduate teams who collaborate and work in the space sector that try to disseminate space in the general public and for teachers and students also. So Greek community is really interested in the space sector. So yes, we try to include all and inform all the people about the various problems in space, and of course about the opportunities.
Please, Matthew. Thank you very much, Ioanna.
Yeah, I don't know much about the primary or secondary schools in France. I know like more like for universities and engineer schools, because I know ESA, the national agency, space agency, has been very active on this. But I don't know much about education for like children and so on.
Fiorella?
I mean, I can maybe mention some experience that I had with the Italian Space Agency, because a few years ago I was involved in the ESERO Italia, and also with the experience with the technological space cluster in the Apulia region. So I think that in Italy, I mean, we are speaking about the primary, secondary school, is very, I mean, I think the situation is very different also among the different regions. Okay, for sure, Italy is one of the leaders in the space sectors, is the third country contributing to the European Space Agency. So there is, of course, a space ecosystem at a national level, but the situation is different at the regional level. So where you have active space industries or research centers or museums, for example, this can help to inspire the young generation and students. So the experience showed that I was involved in this project with the aerospace cluster in Puglia, was called Future Destination, and every year we had different topics. So we can see that it is also important if the engagement of the teachers. Sometimes you can have a very good teacher in physics or mathematics or whatever, and the students are more stimulated to work. But it's important the context. For example, if I think in France they have the Cité de l'Espace in Toulouse, very interesting space museum, and in some of my testimonials interview with different girls and women in space, they shared the fact that they get inspired after a visit to the museum.
Yeah, that's
So,
also another
this
way.
is important in Italy. Now with ESERO Italia, of course, we have of course there is the Italian Space Agency, but there are a number of museums working on ESERO. They are led by the Science, the Leonardo Museum in Milano, and there are different resources also from other ESERO that are shared at the national level in Italian, for instance. So what is important, I think, is that I mean the situation is different going in different regions. I remember that some years ago I organized an event in a very small island in Italy. It's very small. And in the winter, it was really the choice to do is not in the summer when all the tourists are there. And it was 300 students. We invited an astronaut, was Paolo Nespoli was there, 300 students. And yeah, it was 6 years ago, I think. Was a personal initiative that I had because we speak a lot about inclusiveness, but then inclusiveness is north of Italy, center of Italy, and now south. But islands are a little bit lost.
Forgotten.
Space. So this is why I think it's important the regional engagement. Of course, can be also on a voluntary basis, the teacher, the family.
Interregional collaboration also.
Regional collaboration,
yes. Very strongly.
Yeah, because when we also had very good feedback when we were working on this project in Puglia, that the students received kind of mentoring or tutorial from PhD students. So we worked with university and research centers to have maybe 20 tutor or PhD students that can help the young, the primary, secondary schools to work on a space project. So this is the link between institution, university, research centers, museums. They are of course informal educators, but are useful.
Yes, it's very significant what you say. I want to ask a last question to Joanna, actually, now that we share information about the different ESERO offices. Did you have the chance to collaborate with another ESERO office, Joanna?
Yeah, first of all, we are constantly communicating. We have a channel, a Teams channel, and we exchange our ideas and activities. Because we are quite new, we hadn't the chance to collaborate with another ESERO. Although I know that 2 months ago, 4 ESEROs have been collaborated.
I
and
read the news. This is why I asked you. Yeah,
had an in-flight call with an astronaut, an ESA astronaut. So who knows? I think in the future we should definitely collaborate with another ESERO.
And then I wanted to ask you another question. Sorry, I have many questions for Joanna because I know I'm from Greece also. I know the situation there, and actually, you presented the nice external activities you do with the students, but when you have to visit a place to explain what is space about and so on, do we have relevant museums there? And this is also based on what Fiorella mentioned before. Do we have venues that are relevant to space, to at least to space exploration?
Yeah, of course. As I said, we have science centers that have activities about space. And also we have a great network of observatories.
And planetariums, right?
Yeah, planetariums. And of course, we have companies from space industry in Greece. And
we have a Planetech Hellas also in
Planetech.
Italian Hellas.
We have also CITAEL. I know this because I was working with them.
Yes, yes. With Stelios.
Yeah,
Stelios is in
also,
Greece.
there is, I mean, because I had this collaboration when I was working with ESA with the EXCITE, the European Network Science Centers Museum. I think one person was Greek, and now she's working in science centers in Athens, someplace, and she organizes a lot of things with museums. Of course, museums is not a school. This is, we all agree, but can be a platform
Inspiring,
to inspire.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we are close to the end. Do we have another question from the audience, a comment or something that you want to discuss about? Fiorella, Ioanna, and Matthew? Okay, from my side, I would like to promote our next webinar. It's on the 9th of April. And this is actually, it goes a bit beyond master programs and so on. There we will discuss how the current education responds to the space commercialization. The agenda is final, so you can register in the link I shared with you, and you can read more information about the speakers and the thematic. I would like to thank first the speakers for today for joining and dedicating time to build their presentations, Ioanna, Fiorella, and Matthew. And please stay with us for the next webinars. We would be happy to have you as a member to these webinars. Many thanks to the audience and for the valuable comments and questions. And yeah, I wish to everybody to have a nice day, and see you in the next webinar.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very
Goodbye.
much.
Thank you.